Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Bearded Parrot, and we're back again for another cigar review. Today, we are going to be reviewing the Man O War Ruination 10th anniversary. One of my personal favorites that I like to go back to quite a bit. And you can get them for pretty cheap on Cigar Bid, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But first off, I just wanted to talk about the cigar. If you're not familiar with the Man O War line, it's something that AJ Fernandez has been blending and manufacturing for a very long time, mainly for the Cigars International stores, as well as a lot of their kind of satellite stores. I believe they have like cigar and pipe tobacco.com is one of them, cigar.com, cigar bid, and that's actually where I get these guys on a cigar bid. If you do purchase these on Cigars International's website, they are $13 if you buy a box of 10, but I've actually been able to score these guys for anywhere from like $3.75 to $5 range on Cigar Bid if you're lucky. So still within that reasonable range of being affordable, in my opinion, for an everyday smoke. A little bit more details about the origins of the tobacco in this cigar. It is full-bodied, dark Ecuadorian Habano wrapper and a mixture of Nicaraguan and Honduran Liero filler, which gives it that nice spice. Really nice, dark, shiny, oily sheen to the cigar. Let's see if we can actually get a good picture here of it. That looks pretty good there. As you can see, it has a very uh, dark brown, but almost kind of reddish hue to the wrapper. Some oils, very smooth. Not actually as there's some toothiness there to the cigar overall, but um, not as much as some other cigars that usually have a lot of that oil to them and flavor, but this guy is still a beautiful wrapper, good construction. We'll get into the details of that more when I start smoking it, but let's go ahead and give it a cut and smell the foot and give it the old cold draw and see what we get. All right, let's give the cigar a smell here. See what we're getting off of just the foot of that stick. So right away, so what I'm getting off the foot is basically a really dark, rich, earthy note and a little bit of nutty notes on there too. So smells really good. Almost kind of smells not full on coffee like, but close, like almost like kind of like that rich, earthy that you would get from like a coffee bean or something. Let's see what we get from the cold draw here. A little bit of sweetness, a little bit of breadiness, maybe a little bit of peatiness too, which is nice. Not really much of the spice, but I've smoked this cigar many times. I know it's there. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get into this. I'm going to light it up, and I'll come back before we finish off the first third, just to kind of talk about my overall impression so far, and then we'll get into the halfway point and the final third, like we've done before in previous reviews, and then I'll give you my closing thoughts on it and whether or not I think you should buy it. But based on what I've already said, I think you probably already know the answer to that one. But we'll see what we get here in a little bit. Be back in a second. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back. I'm just getting into the first third of the Man O War Ruination 10. So far, so good. Overall notes that I'm getting is more of a really dark earth, toasty notes with a hint of pepper behind the scenes. Should be able to get some sweetness and stuff here soon too, from what just from my experience of smoking so many of these already. But really good smoke so far, real smooth. This one, unfortunately, is giving me a bit of burn issues, which is very rare. I've probably smoked well over a box, if not two boxes of these so far, and I've only had maybe a dud here or there, and the dud is still just, maybe some slight construction issues or burn issues or maybe a draw issue or whatever, but still tastes good. So I can't really fault it for that, especially since you can get them cheaper on Cigar Bid now. If I were to pay $13 a stick regularly for these, I might be a little concerned then at that point if I'm starting to get a dud here or there, because At $13 or more, in my opinion, I really shouldn't run into any issues. Obviously, I've mentioned before on the channel that these are natural products, so they come from the earth. You're not going to get perfection, but if you label a cigar premium and you label a cigar with 13, 15, $20 a stick, I expect uh, at least a consistent experience. So let's see if we can get a picture of the cigar here. There we go. And you can see that the ash, the end was kind of canoeing a little bit. I've tried to touch it up a few times, knock off that like hard cherry on the end there that is kind of stuck on there right now. But beautiful stick, great smoke, good price if you get it right from Cigar Bit, if you get the right auctions. But just an excellent cigar overall. I've loved all the Man O Wars over the years. The original Man O War, the original Man O War Ruination, the Virtue, and now the Man O War Ruination 10 is right up there, in my opinion. Honestly, in my opinion, I think the Ruination 10 might be the best. That's just for my palate. Everyone's different. This one is a pretty full-bodied cigar. As we start getting down in, I'll start talking about that a little bit, but it can get pretty strong. So if you're not used to that kind of smoking experience, it might be a little off-putting. It is pretty strong. So you might need to eat some bread or something if you're going to smoke a cigar like this. Just keep your stomach from getting upset or whatever if you're not used to that stronger nicotine. But yeah, enjoying it so far. A little disappointed in the burn, but you can't win them all. And I've smoked plenty of these cigars to know that this is not the normal experience, and it still tastes great. So I'm gonna keep smoking this, and once we get down to the halfway point, once we like remove that label, probably is where we'll stop and start talking a little bit more about it, and we'll go from there. Be back in a second. I'm back, just getting into the halfway point of the Man O War Ruination 10th anniversary. And as you can see, the burning issues actually kind of resolved itself. The draw opened up a little bit more, and got a lot more flavors out of it. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So in the beginning, I talked about getting more of that kind of bready, toasty notes with a little bit of pepper there. And now it's moved into a very dark, rich tobacco earth taste. Very strong espresso notes and a lot of black pepper there. Very smooth too. I don't know if I necessarily want to say cream, but kind of just a velvety, oily smoke, which is really pleasant. This cigar is very smooth, but it's also a major smoke machine. So I'll take a couple hits here, as you can see. Lots of smoke and lots of flavor. Really smooth, really strong, but really smooth. So it's very enjoyable. This is definitely a great cigar at night. I like to have coffee with the cigar a lot of times. Just it matches that espresso notes and that dark, rich, earthy note that you get from it, and the pepper as well. Just really matches well with a nice cup of coffee. But it would be great for something like a bourbon or a scotch, maybe a dark beer like a stout would be perfect pairing for the cigar. Again, burn issues kind of resolve themselves, and that's kind of an oddity anyway. You normally don't get that. Great looking cigar. Smokes well, very smooth, and pretty affordable too if you get them on Cigar Bid. I think you already know which way I'm going with this, but pretty good smoke overall, and that's why I've bought so many of these sticks. And it's just a good staple cigar. If I'm looking at my humidor, I'm like, what am I going to smoke tonight? I try to keep variety so then I'm not smoking the same things every time, but a lot of times I gravitate towards the Man O War Ruination 10 just because I know that I'm going to have a good experience. I very rarely, maybe one dud overall where, I had kind of a bad draw, but that was like a one-off thing, and then some burn issues here. But just I love consistency when it comes to cigars because, you you look for deals and whatnot, but we all work hard for the money that we have, and we want to make sure that we get something that's consistent and good. Because when you sit down to smoke a cigar, it's an experience. It's not just something that you're getting nicotine from or something, like a cigarette. Cigar smoking is meant to be an enjoyable, relaxing experience. There's a bit of ritual involved with it, with the cutting of the cigar and the lighting of the cigar, the cold draw, the smelling of the cigar in the beginning, uh, you know, figuring out, experiencing that taste in the beginning, and seeing where it goes in the middle of the cigar. It could actually be a talking point as well, and cigars are great as a social experience as well to share with friends, just to kind of bull crap about whatever, and just have that cigar there, and it really sets the mood, and is a good experience overall, in my opinion. It's partly why I enjoy cigars. But I do smoke cigars by myself a lot, and it's a great solo experience too. You just want to chill for the night. You had a rough day, or you put in your time, and now you just want to chill and relax a little bit, and the cigar is perfect for that. And this cigar in particular is definitely perfect for that, in my opinion. So I'm going to keep smoking this down, and we'll talk about the final notes in the very end. I know that this starts to ramp up a little bit more at this point, so I'm actually okay with that. I like the darker, full-bodied cigars, so it's probably what we're going to get here again, just because I've smoked so many of these, but we'll see. I'm going to keep smoking this down, and we'll close it out here in a little bit. Be back in a second. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back, and I'm just getting into the final bit of the cigar here, getting down to the nub. Overall impression, amazing cigar, especially for the price. Have I had better cigars? Yes. Have I had worse cigars? Most definitely. But this is a really good smoke, especially for that $4 or $5 range you can get on Cigar Bid. $13, if the cigar was $13 and I couldn't get it for 4 to 5, I'd probably still buy it every now and then, because I do think it is, you know, more in that upper echelon of premium smokes. It's definitely touching that range, in my opinion. Lots of smoke, really smooth. Typically, no burn issues. There was a little bit there in the beginning, like I said, but uh, this is definitely an AJ Fernandez cigar. Lots of power behind it. Lots of different flavors that I'll touch on here in a second. Definitely has that pepper forward that you would typically expect from an AJ Fernandez cigar. And it has that kind of Man O War Ruination aspect to it, just more so. I think it's like the Man O War Ruination, just with a little bit of smoother edges to it and a little bit more power behind it, I think. So if you like that full-bodied smoke, this is definitely a great smoke. Cigar Bid's probably the better place to get it, in my opinion. But if you just want to try a 5 pack or something, you can check out Cigars International for it. But yeah, overall, started out with um, kind of like an earthy, rich tobacco taste with a little bit of pepper. Moved into more of also the little bit of toast and stuff in the beginning that I got, but moved into more of that rich earth, black pepper espresso notes. A little bit of that toastiness still. Not necessarily a creamy notes in my opinion, but kind of like the silky smooth smoke. So it could technically be considered a cream. As I got down into the final bits, started to get more pepper forward, more rich earth tobacco taste, and then espresso still remained. Definitely more powerful than it was in the beginning. It does start to get a little hot towards the end, I've noticed with these, which a lot of cigars do. This one in particular definitely starts to get into that more a little bit hotter range towards the end. So if you don't like that, this point's probably a good point to stop the cigar. But I usually like to nub them out. I don't like to waste cigar, so I'll probably smoke this down to where my fingers are burning, just because I enjoy the smoke, and that's just who I am. I don't like to waste if I can help it. But yeah, overall, like I said, I've bought a lot of these, so this is kind of a no-brainer. I think this is a great cigar overall, and I like to tell people about great cigars so that they can actually experience that as well themselves. So yeah, definitely pick this up. Definitely try it out. You will enjoy it if you like the full-bodied smoke. If you're not really into the full-bodied, then this might be a little bit too much for you. But full body as far as strength, but full body as far as flavor too. But still super smooth all the way down, which is what I like. I really try to gravitate towards cigars that give me that powerhouse, but can also be considered smooth as well. Because there are some out there that are good, but they're a little rough around the edges, a little bit of a harshness to them, depending on the wrapper choice that they chose when they're blending. But this one, perfect smoothness to it, and a good draw and good flavor all the way down. So can't really go wrong with this cigar. Definitely recommend it. Pick it up again, like I said, from Cigar Bed or Cigars International. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna nub this out, and until next time, this has been the Bearded Parrot, and this has been another cigar review.